Hello, everybody. How are you? It's Ruben Levine. It's been a long time since I've done these recordings. I have to say, it's like been a gaping hole in my heart. I do have a couple of people who would actually listen and compliment me, but more importantly, it was just an opportunity for me every week to take the time to study something, learn something, get inspired by something, and really uplift myself and go into Shabbat with a great sense of zeal and exhaustion. So I wanted to return to this, and something inspired me to do that. I happen to have met this week with someone who I admire very much, Charlie Harary, who's a very, very special man, great humility, but great brilliance, understands business, understands people, understands human nature. And he came here and he sat here with his son Moshe, and we talked a little business, but it just really pushed me forward to take this. So I hope everybody has a Shabbat Shalom, and for those of you who like this, enjoy it. I certainly learned a lot. So we actually finished the Sefer of Bamidbar, the book of what they call Numbers, the fourth book of the five books of the Torah. And we end this parsha with a double parsha. We actually read 2 weeks portions worth of chapters in the Torah, and the first of which is Matos, the other one is Mas'eh. And in Matos, in Perek Chaf Gimel, Pasuk Chaf Aleph, it says as follows: Vayomer Elazar HaKohen El Anshe HaTzava. So the great priest Elazar said to the people of the armies, the soldiers, Haba'im LaMilchama, that were coming to or going to fight, and that would actually go by the Kohen Gadol, the great priest, for a blessing. He says, Zot Chukat HaTorah Asher Tziva Adonai et Moshe. This is the chuk, this is the rule of the Torah that was told over by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe. Okay, next pasuk. Ach, et hazav et hakesef. Ach, but the gold and the silver, et hanechoshet et habarzel, and the bronze and the iron, et habedil ve'et ha'ofaret, the tin and the lead, these different metals. Boom, end of verse. Says nothing other than but, and gives you a list, and then on he goes to the next one. Kol davar asher yavo ba'esh, any of these things that become impure from that and are used on fire and became impure when in use on a fire, like a pot or a grill or whatever it may be, ta'viru ba'esh. In order to remove its impurity, you have to do so through fire. V'taher, and it'll become pure again. And anything that becomes impure through water should be also purified through water. This is what he said to the soldiers that were going out to battle. And there's a beautiful Seder Eliyahu Rabbah on this, that he says as follows: Taviru b'mayim, going into the water, purifying through water. Lama romez pasuk zeh. What is the remez? What is the secret in this actual verse? Ela ma mayim halalu mikveh tahara hen l'chol ba'ei olam l'chol ma'aseh adav shebara ba'olam. Just like water is a way in which people purify themselves and people actually emerge from water. Shenemar v'chol davar asher lo yavo ba'esh taviru b'mayim, kach divrei Torah mikveh tahara hen liYisrael b'chol mekomot moshvotehem. That Torah, the learning of Torah, the learning and the studying of these holy books and scriptures, it is a purification device for anyone, anywhere. Let's learn and see how much Torah is able to turn people around. Even someone who does idol worship is able to do tshuva with Torah. Ein maim ela Torah. That maim, water, is like Torah. And he goes on to say, Hoi kol tzameh lechumayim, as it says in Yeshayahu, ein toharim ela divrei Torah. People become purified through the words of Torah. And that's why I wanted to take this opportunity to start this up again. I'm inspired by Charlie, and I just feel that it's important for us to understand that the learning of Torah is something that purifies people. And the Chafetz Chaim even points out here that also Torah is like Eish, is like fire. Now, here we are on the eve of Tisha B'Av or Chodesh Av. We're supposed to be somewhat saddened, or we're supposed to minimize our happiness during these 9 days, because it was during this 9 days that the great Temple Mount, where the Kohanim did their avoda, and Klal Yisrael, that was central to worship for Klal Yisrael. It is during this period of time that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. And it's a wake-up call to us that now's the time to start doing the tshuva. Now's the time to start looking at the things that we know we're weak at and we know hold us back, and encounter them with fire. If the avera, or if the shortcoming that you have, was established somehow in a way, you have to face up to that same challenge and deny it with the same fervor and fire. And the Chafetz Chaim tells us that that's called sur meira v'aseh tov. You stand up to it, you push back onto it, and you immediately forge yourself forward and do something positive. And you do something to go ahead and show that you are removing the impurity that entered you through Eish, through fire. You're taking it away with fire. And if the impurity came to you through water, then you have to go ahead and remove it with water. You have to stand up to that same exact challenge and overcome it, and then immediately catapult yourself forward and do something positive in the context of Torah, in the context of Limud HaTorah. And it's such a beautiful idea that now we also have a lot of Ben Adam L'Chavero. We have a lot of relationships and challenges and things that we have with other people. And as you know, when you do tshuva, there's Adam L'Makom, there's doing tshuva between yourself and God. But also you have to do the same kind of repentance with you and your brother who you may have harmed. And you have to face up to those things and those challenges and realize them and stand up to it, and not succumb to the need to cheat a person, the need to go ahead and to somehow do something dishonestly, which you kind of rationalize that everybody does it and it's fine, and you just kind of get sucked into it and no longer even bothers you. To be able to look at that and stand up to it and find those things between you and others, relationships with children, relationships with spouses, relationship with parents, and stand up to the fires that created the rift and the distance, and close it with the same fervor and fire, or the same piping hot water that created that impurity, and forge forward with something positive. Sur meira v'aseh tov. Stand up to that inclination, stand up to it, and forge yourself forward and do something positive, and bring Torah into that. And now's the opportunity to do that, so that by the time we get to Elul, we're really, really at a cruising altitude for an entire month going into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And now's the time to mend those things. Those are the things that destroyed the Beis HaMikdash. Now's the time to go ahead at this particular time and stand up to it, and ultimately forge forward and influence others. I thank you, Charlie Harari, for inspiring me to get back into it. Everybody have a Shabbat Shalom U'Mivorach and a Chodesh Tov.